We're tier ranking every thriller book I've ever read. It's like 16 books, so it's not much, but it's honest work. I just felt like doing this today, so here you are watching it. I wanted to gather all of the 16 thriller books I've read and really analyze what I feel about them, because I feel like I always mark them in like a 4-star range, and I'm like, why are they all 4 stars? I can't seriously feel the same about all of these books. So we're gonna be tier ranking them because some are just better than others. I just want an excuse to talk about some of these books. I feel like, I don't know, randomly more people are asking me what thriller books they should read, or I've been recommending more thrillers. So I just wanted to tier rank these 16 books. If you have thriller books that you absolutely love that I didn't include here, please let me know. I'm always looking for a good thriller rec, especially because they can be very hit or miss, and I don't want any misses. I want all hits. I'm going to be I figured out how to do this tier ranking thing. You're probably so impressed. It's not that impressive that I figured out how to do this tier ranking, but like it's one of many skills that I have acquired today. And if you are one of those people who wants to acquire new skills all the time, I highly recommend that you check out Skillshare, who is the sponsor of today's video. So as you know, I love learning new little tips and tricks and hobbies and things, especially as I grow a YouTube channel, a podcast, all of those little things. It can be a lot for one person to know and understand. Graphic design, all that stuff. Content creation becomes, you're one person doing a ton of different things, and it's hard to be a master in all of them. So that's why I've used Skillshare as I'm building out my content, so that I can I can be a master in all of those things. Because I have all of these different hobbies and interests, Skillshare has been my one-stop shop for learning all of the new skills I want to know more about. I've been using it for YouTube, Photoshop, graphic design, video editing. Skillshare is really an online learning community with thousands of classes in design, business, and tech, and so much more. It's a place for you to get inspired, learn new skills, and apply those skills in impactful ways. When you use my link below, you can get 1 free month of Skillshare. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Okay, let's get straight into the tier ranking. Let me preface this by saying I've been in a huge slump the past few months in not just reading, but like life. And today I woke up and I decided I was going to get back to creating book content, and because that's what inspires me and it's what moves me right now. So this was just like the idea that came to me, and I'm like, I'm not going to second guess it. I'm just going to do it. Okay, so here are the 16 books. Okay, we're going to start with the classic. The one we all know probably is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This book was probably the first thriller that I read in my newfound love of reading. I listened to it on audio, and I found that the narrators, the audio actors, voice actors, were so perfectly cast. Their voices were so good, especially Verity's, because she just had the most, like what you would expect Verity's voice to sound like. It was so good. The story is so unique. It's so clever, and I love that you are questioning everything, especially at the end. I'm obviously not gonna give spoilers in here if you haven't read it, but if you've read it, you know. I love this book, even if it's, I don't know, some people don't like it, some people think it's a little predictable. I don't think it was predictable at all. I thought it was incredible. It's one of my favorite thriller books. It's my only favorite Colleen Hoover book. I think all of her other writing is not for me. For many reasons, this book is superior. So obviously I'm going to put it into I cherish this book. Now you may be wondering, what are these tiers? Let me explain them really quick. I cherish this book is like a 6-star out of 5 stars. It is something I think about regularly. It's one of my favorite books of all time. That's the first tier. The second tier is gripping. I was gripped. It stumped me. It's just not my favorite ever, but it really entertained me. The next one is like, it entertained me for the time, but I rarely think about it. Like, I don't really give it a second thought. It's just kind of, it was fine. It was entertaining while I read it, but I don't think about it much. The next one is like, I don't remember a single thing about this book. I could not tell you what the plot was. It just was very forgettable. And then the last one is like, I kind of hated it. I kind of didn't think it was like worth all this hype. Also, these are all pretty popular thriller books, so take that into consideration. I'm not going too outside of the realm of what a lot of people have read if they're into this genre. So Verity is obviously top tier. Okay, so The Teacher by Freida McFadden. This literally came out 2 weeks ago and I read it so fast. I listened to it so fast. Leslie Howard narrated it, which I think she narrates a few other Freida McFadden books, and I love her voice. So the two of them together is like the perfect storm of an audiobook. I listened to it on Spotify. So The Teacher is Freida McFadden's latest release. How do I feel about it? I think that, because am I going to remember it in like a few months? Maybe. I feel like, I want to say it was gripping. I didn't think it was super, like I wasn't super shocked by the twists and turns, but I did really enjoy it. I'm gonna put it in gripping. That could change. I don't know. This all could change. The Teacher is about like this couple who is, one of them is an English teacher, one of them is a math teacher, and they both teach at the same high school. And then there's a student who just got a different teacher fired for inappropriate relations, and then slowly more is uncovered about it. I'm just like thinking about this book, like, did we get all the answers that I wanted? I don't feel like we did. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I thought it was like fine. It's not my favorite Freida McFadden book ever. I feel like the very, very end of the book, didn't really make sense, but it's what makes me like Freida McFadden books a lot. It's somewhere in between gripping and entertaining for the time, but I rarely think about it. Okay, so the Mindfuck series is like kind of thriller, kind of romance. I put it in here because I think it's more of a thriller than about the romance. And it's about a female serial killer and the FBI agent on her case. And they are dating, but he doesn't realize that he's actually looking for her. He's on this serial killer case. He thinks it's a man because why would it be this like pretty young girl killing all these really burly men? There's like some steamy romance. It's such a unique book and the story is so unique. And so it's like 5 smaller books in one big book. And I flew through them, and like you finish one book because it's like 100 pages and then you want to fly to the next one, and it's like such an easy read. It's not really an easy read because it can deal with very dark topics. It's a dark romance, so check trigger warning because this gets really intense. It was hard for me to read at some point, so I did have to take breaks. I couldn't fly through it because sometimes it got really intense, so I did take breaks. I think this is a very memorable book and I really enjoyed it, and I felt like it was really well written. It makes me so sad that this author is not with us anymore. I'm gonna put it in I cherish this book because that's where it makes sense. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This is a relatively new release by Lisa Jewell. This is the first Lisa Jewell I've read. I know that she writes quite a few other books. None of This Is True. It is about 2 women who are birthday twins who are born in the same hospital on the same day, and they find each other because they were both out to dinner for their birthdays. And then one of the women wants to tell her story on the other's podcast, and like it slowly gets revealed all these dark secrets about her. And okay, I don't know. I didn't like it. I felt that it was super gripping and kept me entertained, but there was like, how do I say this without giving anything away? I just thought that there was no like twist or turn. It was just kind of more of a mystery, I guess, more so than a thriller. And whenever it's kind of marketed to me as a thriller, but it's really a mystery, I get a little disappointed by it because I don't feel like there's a big twist. I feel like it kind of fell flat at the end. And it was like so gripping the entire time until the end, and then it got to be like, that's it. So I didn't really like it. Where do I want to put it? I'm probably not going to think about it much. I kind of hated it, honestly. I'm going to put it in kind of hated it. because it left me pretty, it left me with a bad taste in my mouth at the end. I was just kind of like, ugh. It's not a bad book. It was like gripping while the time, I'm gonna use gripping so much in this video. It was intriguing the entire time, but I just feel like the end kind of fell flat. Okay, The Coworker by Freida McFadden. I don't remember anything about this book. What even happened? I know that it's about a coworker, and I remember that the coworker is kind of weird and likes turtles. I have no idea what the twist was. I don't remember how it went. I did read it very quickly. I can read Freida McFadden books so quickly because it's simple writing. It doesn't require a whole lot of brain power, but it's really intriguing and you can kind of fly through a Freida McFadden book. So I read it really quickly and I don't feel like I remember the twist being that twisty. So I'm probably gonna forget it even more in the next few months. But I still recommend pretty much any Freida McFadden because I find her writing incredible. On the other hand, we got Never Lie next. This is one of my favorite Freida McFadden books because the twist really got me. It really got me. I just remember full body chills listening to it. I listened to a lot of these books. I just was shocked by the twist. She knew how to get me. It's also like under 300 pages, so it's super quick if you just need like a quick read. I recommend this to anyone in a reading slump who just needs like a quick read to get them back into the groove of reading because it's so easy to read. The twist is really good and it's really short and you feel really satisfied reading it because it's super short. So Never Lie, I cherish this book. I think it's one of my favorite Freida McFadden books. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This is Riley Sager's like newest release. It came out in June of 2023. I didn't really like it. I didn't feel like it was, who is Lizzie Borden, I think. It's like a retelling of the Lizzie Borden murders. I didn't care for it. I didn't think it was Riley Sager's best work. That's all I'll say on it. I honestly don't remember a whole lot because I didn't care for the characters. I didn't really like it and I found some of it kind of cringy. I'm gonna put it in kind of hated it. I'm not saying any good things about it. I'm gonna put it in kind of hated it just a little bit. Freida McFadden, The Inmate. I listened to this one too. I found that it was, I think, entertaining for the time, but I rarely think about it. It's not one of my favorites from her. I found the twist to be kind of meh. I think it was a very interesting story and I could pull the facts from my brain and I could remember some of it, but I don't really think about it very often as being one of my favorite Freida McFadden books or thriller books in general. So I'm gonna put it in. It was very entertaining for the time, but I rarely think about it. So the next two are considered thrillers, like are marked as thrillers. They're not quite the same type of thriller where there's like a murder or like a mystery. You know, it's just, they're different thrillers. Tell Me Lies by Carola Lovering is technically a thriller. I guess that kind of makes sense. I don't know what else I would consider it as. This is one of my absolute favorite books of all time and it makes me laugh because everybody else hates it, and it just goes to show that you can't listen to everybody else. You just gotta do what's right for you, because this is one of my favorite books of all time. And I feel like the reason why people don't like it is because I think they go in thinking that it's a romance and the romance is very toxic. And it's like, that's not really what the story is about. Like, that's not the main focal point. And you're supposed to hate the main characters. And you're supposed to hate the toxic romance. It's not like for you to fall in love with these characters and want them to end up together. So I love the story. And I found that there was like a great twist. I loved the toxic. I loved it. I cherish this book. I also think I cherish it more because everybody else hates it and it's like one of my favorite books ever. I think I cherish it more because everybody else hates it and I am stubborn like that. Okay, Damascus Station. This is one that I don't see people talk about very much. It's actually one that my dad recommended to me. It's like a CIA spy thriller novel. It was really fun. I had gone to my dad and I was like, I want something that like is like CIA thrillery, maybe there's romance in there. It was like a weirdly specific, my request, and he was like, I have just the thing. My dad's like that. He's read like thousands and thousands of books, so he has a wealth. He's like a human library. Damascus Station, I read this so long ago. It was like one of the first books I read getting back into reading. I'm gonna say entertaining for the time, but I rarely think about it because I don't really think about this book very often. There is a second one that came out at the beginning of this year, I think, called Moscow X. It's going to be like, this one takes place obviously in Syria and talks about like the Syrian war, and it's very interesting. And it's written by an ex-CIA agent, which makes it that much more cool. And in the dust jacket, it says something like, I can't believe the CIA let this book be published because it's so accurate, which makes it really fun. And the second one is gonna take place in Russia, obviously, because it's called Moscow X. So I'm excited to read that book. Maybe I should read that soon. I'll let you know what I think if I do. I just like that it's a little different. It's written by an ex-CIA agent, and it's kind of fun and thrillery, but I don't really think about this book very often. It's special to me because it's one of those first books that I read when I was getting back into reading, and it's something my dad and I talked about, but other than that, I couldn't tell you kind of what happens in the book besides like CIA things. Every Last Secret by A.R. Torrey. I think I saw Haley Pham read it, and then I saw that the same woman who did the voice of Verity also did the audiobook for this book. I don't remember anything about this book besides a few like disturbing details of it. I couldn't really tell. It's about like two rich couples, and that's all I really remember. There's like a thriller aspect. I don't remember anything about this book. I'm gonna put, I don't remember anything about this book. I think it was entertaining for the time. Yeah, no, I just don't remember anything about it. It's kind of forgettable. Give it a read. See for yourself. The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Como se dice, one of my favorite books. I really love this book. When I first read it, I gave it like a 3.5. And then when I thought about it, I gave it a 4. And then when I think about it more and read it's one of the first thriller books I ever read next to Verity. The more I read other thriller books, the more I like it. I think it was so clever, but I flew through it in a few days. I remember sitting down and reading it over like a 3-day weekend. And I think it's one of Riley Sager's best books. And it's so clever. It's so like, it's a kind of a retelling of like Rear Window, Disturbia. It's somewhere in between I Cherish This Book and Gripping. I want to put it in Gripping because it's not like a 6-star, I think about it all the time. Well, I do kind of think about it all the time. I'm going to put it in Gripping, but it might go to I Cherish This Book. The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, one of the most popular thrillers ever of recent times. It's one of her most popular books. And there's also a sequel here, The Housemaid's Secret. If you had asked me when I first read it, I'd say like 6-star book, 5-star book, love it, amazing. I don't know why I'm hesitant to put it in there, in that I Cherish This Book. It is really good. I think it's maybe because it's so hyped up and everybody's read it that it's kind of lost its magic for me. I actually don't know. Where do I want to put The Housemaid? I'm going to put it in I Cherish This Book. No, I'm going to put it in Gripping, because if I don't feel 100% about it, it doesn't belong in the top tier. Okay, Lock Every Door. I kind of hated this book, and I will not change my mind on all that. I listened to this one too. I thought it was just kind of annoying. I don't know. The twist was like, really? That's it? I don't know. It felt flat for me. It's not one of my favorite Riley Sager books, and I just didn't think it was all that great. The Last Thing He Told Me. I also kind of hated this book. Again, this is one of those that like is marketed as a mystery / thriller, but it's more a mystery and there's no thriller aspect about it, and it was kind of boring. It's one of like Reese's book club's books, and I find some of those to not be very good. I also listen to a lot of thriller books because I just like, I don't know. I like listening to thrillers a little bit more than I like reading them, and then I read physical copies of like fantasies and romance. The last thing he told me was just fell flat for me. I think about it, and I think about how much I didn't like it, and it just kind of was meh. The Housemaid Secret. I don't remember anything about this book. I could not tell you a single thing besides that the same housemaid that's in the first one is in the second one. I can't remember a single thing about that book. I'm like, did I even read it? Like, that's how I feel, how much I don't remember it. The other ones, I could kind of venture a guess of what happens. This one I have no clue. And even when I read the back of the book, I'm still at a loss. I'm like, did I read it? I gave it 4 stars. I need to knock that down to 3 because I don't remember a single thing about this book. Okay, so let's just take a look here. This feels good. I like where everything is. This all feels good. I feel like the teacher might get moved down, you know, as time goes on, and I probably won't think about it too much. Like entertaining for the time, but really think about it. It might get moved. This feels good. Yes. Yes. My 4 I kind of hated it books. So that's my tier list of every thriller I've read. There's only 16, which is still a lot, but let me know if there's any other thrillers that I should read that you think are really good. Don't give me ones that you think are bad because that doesn't make any sense. And then maybe when I have another 16, I'll redo this list and things might change. Let me know if you want to see that. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Stay elevated. Bye.